Hello everyone, welcome back to Laburnum for my head, lesson 7. Let us refresh your memory. Lentina, with the help of Babu, plants the laburnum saplings in the cemetery. Babu updates the details of the growth of the plants. In the winter, her health declined. Everyone thought that she was going to die, but she survived it and became more energetic. In the next year, Babu saw that one of the laburnum plants has yellow blossoms in it. Babu was happy and afraid at the same time. He felt that the news will make her conclude that it was time for her to die. So from there, let us move on. The story is coming to an end by this lesson. Para 29. Babu is actually confused about informing Lentina about the laburnum flowers in bloom. Finally, he decided to break the news in the next flowering season. Babu was really happy about Lentina's trust in him. When her husband was alive, the relationship between Babu and Lentina was that of a master and servant. Later, that barrier broke down and she depended on him for getting things done for her. Then, finally, for her, he became a very faithful friend. Slowly, her sons and their wives also accepted it. It was an unusual bond of common humanity based on trust and loyalty. So that paragraph tells about the relationship between the driver, Babu, and Lentina. When her husband was alive, that relationship was actually that of a master and a servant, a conventional relationship between a master and a servant. Later, she depended on him for everything. We have seen that in the story, and finally both of them became very close friends. So it was a bond of common humanity that existed in both of them based on trust and loyalty. Para 30 and 31. In the next year, Lentina began to show signs of tiredness, fatigue due to old age. All through the winter, she was taken care of by the family. When the March came, she expressed the desire to be taken out of the house for a ride. The family was not happy with this, but when she refused to take food, they agreed. After that, twice a week, she was allowed to go for a ride accompanied by a maid. She was happy in these rides. She was mostly silent during the rides. In the month of May, her outings became more frequent. She seemed to expect that this May the tree will be in full bloom. In late May, by the end of May, Babu saw that the whole tree was covered with laburnum flowers. Babu was very happy and was now ready to tell this happy news to his mistress. When he reached the house, he was surprised that she was waiting for him. She said, "Come in, Babu. I have been waiting for you." She said that she knew what he was going to tell her. She felt that this is going to happen. He saw that Lentina and the maid was already dressed to go out. She took the walking stick and said impatiently, "Let's go. What are you waiting for?" So finally, the laburnum flowers were in bloom in late May, and Babu decided to communicate the news to her. And when he reached the house, he was surprised to see that she was ready to see it. She was dressed for the occasion, dressed to go out to see the flowers. Para 33. When she reached the cemetery and saw the tree in full bloom, she became very serious. She looked at it for a very long time, then asked Babu to drive her to the park in the town. They, Lentina, the maid, and Babu sat together for a while and had some tea and biscuits together. After half an hour, they returned home. When she entered her room, turned back and shook the hands of the maid and Babu, saying, "Thank you and God bless you." Para 34. Next week, she didn't go anywhere. She spent whole time in her room. After 5 days, she asked the maid to help her with her bath and dress her in her favorite dress. Then she had an early dinner and said goodbye to the maid. Next morning she was found dead in sleep. Thus, the undramatic life of an ordinary woman who wished for the laburnum tree bloom near her grave passed away peacefully. So thus Lentina died very peacefully in her sleep one day. And the last paragraph, the concluding paragraph. Every May her wish was granted when the laburnum tree in the cemetery is covered with yellow flowers. If you look around, you can see that there is not a single concrete headstone in the new part of the cemetery. Instead, flowering bushes were planted, which bloomed in their seasons. Several types of flowers, hibiscus, gardenia, bottlebrush, camellia, oleander, and croton bushes of all colors. There are some jacaranda trees, a lone banyan tree, and a few ashoka trees, etc. But there is only one laburnum tree. It was tall. It grew magnificently in an environment free from all pretensions to immortality. This means it was free from tombstones which were placed for acquiring immortality. In the month of May, laburnums looked so extraordinary. So thus the story ends. See, the practice of practice of not erecting headstones continued. Instead, all those people who buried in the new cemetery planted a tree, and now after years there were several types of flowers, there are several trees, but there was only one laburnum tree. And today nobody is pretending to acquire immortality by placing the tombstones. And in the month of May, laburnum continued to look so extraordinary. So the final comment is that finally the dream of Lentina came to be true. When she died, she was buried in the burial plot she had purchased. The headstone was not erected. Instead, she was buried under the laburnum tree she had planted. In every May, the laburnum tree was covered with beautiful yellow flowers. In course of time, several other trees grew there as well. Erecting headstones were prohibited. There was only one laburnum tree. So that is the end of the story. So some of you may ask, what is the meaning of this story? From what we understand, it is about an old woman who wanted to grow laburnum tree by the side of her grave, and her activities to fulfill her dream, and finally she achieves that. What is the meaning of the story? There are several arguments regarding that. Several interpretations are there about the story. Some readers say that the poem is about old age. The story is about old age and its aspirations and desires. Some readers are of the opinion that the story is about perseverance, the mind to work continuously till we achieve something. Some readers of the story say that the story is about the need of environmental conservation, about growing trees rather than erecting concrete stones. So one story and several interpretations. Anything can be the meaning of the story. So it is the readers that determine the meaning. So you yourself might have felt something within your mind while reading the story. You yourself will be able to come to conclusion. It can be about old age, it can be about environmental conservation. So whatever it is, you will be able to say something about it. So we have come to the end of it, and we are stopping here. Thank you.